Did you know that this peaceful forest hides the dark secrets of a mining empire? Beneath these trees, people have been digging illegal coal mines by hand for generations, and they still do it today. I'm exploring why this area is called the Swiss Valley, a quiet landscape that holds deep industrial scars from the past. Let's see what's left of that era right under our feet. In the heart of Europe, in southwestern Poland, close to the Czech border, lies the city of Wałbrzych. It is one of the few Polish cities where urban neighborhoods blend seamlessly into the surrounding mountain slopes. It is surrounded by the Central Sudetes, part of the ancient Sudeten mountain range stretching along the Polish-Czech border. Within the city lies Mount Niedźwiadki, one of the many mountains that shape Wałbrzych's landscape. This is where our story begins. Hundreds of millions of years ago, there were no forests here, and Niedźwiadki had not yet taken its present form. The land beneath our feet was only beginning to be shaped by powerful geological forces. As you walk through Niedźwiadki, you'll often come across pieces of volcanic rock beneath your feet. In places, dark rock faces still bear the marks of the ancient volcanic activity that shaped this hill. Millions of years ago, over time, these ancient rocks were covered by new layers of sediment, sand, mud, and plant material accumulated here, slowly turning into sandstone, shale, and coal seams. The landscape continued to change. Much later, during the Ice Age, glaciers carried enormous boulders into this area, some of which can still be found on the slopes of Niedźwiadki today. From that moment on, nature had already created the foundation of the landscape we see today. Everything that happened after that became part of human history. Over the centuries, the landscape around Niedźwiadki was gradually shaped by human activity. Trails appeared first, followed by roads, and eventually the first settlements at the foot of the mountain. At first, these were small communities living close to the forest and the mountains, but over time, the area began to grow in importance, especially as people discovered what was hidden beneath the ground. Dense forests once hid rich coal deposits. Back in the Middle Ages, local people began using it for heating and crafts. But the real history of industrial development in this area started much later. It was coal that changed the fate of this region forever, transforming small settlements into one of the largest mining centers in Silesia. But that era is now over. In the 1990s, Wałbrzych's coal mines were closed, yet the mountain still bears the traces of its mining past. Among them are the so-called Biedaszyby, small illegal coal workings that can still be found on the slopes of Niedźwiadki. They were never part of any official mine. People dug them by hand, following narrow coal seams wherever they reached close to the surface. Every tunnel was a gamble, and every descent meant risking a collapse for just a few buckets of coal. You know, while walking out here, I caught myself thinking, why on earth is this mountain called Niedźwiadki? Which translates to the bear cubs. I mean, there haven't been any bears around here for ages, but there's a fascinating historical fact hidden behind this name. The thing is, this place has a massive hidden history. Until the end of World War II, this entire territory, Lower Silesia, was actually part of Germany, and the mountain had a completely different name. The Germans called it Butterberg, which means Butter Mountain, when the region became part of Poland in 1945. A special commission for name determinations arrived. The German names left the topographers completely baffled. The first Polish settlers even started calling this ridge the White Stones, because light-colored volcanic rocks peeked out from the ground here and there. But the commission decided to dig deeper into the ancient archives of this industrial region. And it turned out that centuries ago, these deep forest ravines at the foothills were officially called the Bear Valley, in memory of this forest's wild past. The mountain was given its new name, Niedźwiadki. So, as you step on these leaves, just know once upon a time, wild bears really ruled these woods. You may have noticed the colored marks painted on the trees along the trail. These are Poland's official hiking trail markers, helping walkers stay on the correct route. They come in 5 colors: red, blue, green, yellow, and black. Contrary to a common myth, the colors do not indicate how difficult a trail is. They simply distinguish one route from another. That's why a little further on, we'll come across blue markings as well, another trail crossing our path. Thinking about exploring places like this yourself? Check out the trip.com link in the description. Before every trip, I use it to plan my journey, book hotels, flights or train tickets, and explore the map to find interesting places nearby. It makes planning a lot easier before you set off on the trail. To our right lies the old Swiss Valley. Today it is just another district of Wałbrzych, but several centuries ago it was a small independent settlement. It was founded in the 17th century. Then, in the 19th century, as coal mining transformed Wałbrzych, the valley began to change as well. Over time, the village was gradually absorbed into the growing city, although its historic name has survived to this day. In the late 19th century, this place was a regular rural settlement. The reason behind the name Swiss Valley is purely visual. While the nearby parts of the region were dominated by large coal mines, this village sat right inside a narrow valley with unusually steep, green hills. These sharp slopes gave the landscape a specific look that reminded people of an alpine canyon. So, the local villagers called it the Swiss Valley as a direct contrast to the industrial scenery right next to it today. It is a modern street where those original historic buildings from the past still stand. Following these colorful markers deeper into the woods, you realize that the true secrets of this mountain aren't found on the surface. To find them, we have to move deep into the most remote areas of Niedźwiadki, closer to Ruszanowa, which is one of the districts of Wałbrzych. Somewhere out here, an incredible object lies hidden under the forest soil. It is a forgotten German mine shaft known as Schild Maria or Shaft Maria, back in the early 20th century. German engineers were desperately exploring just how deep the coal layers went beneath this volcanic mountain ridge. This hidden shaft became one of the highest points where they tried to find coal. But this ambitious project quickly turned into a deadly trap. Do you know why it was hastily shut down and sealed off forever? The mountain simply refused to give up its treasures. Methane, a highly explosive gas, began to accumulate rapidly in the upper chambers of the tunnels, making further work a pure act of suicide for the miners. The Germans feared that a single accidental strike of a pickaxe against the hard volcanic rock would cause a spark, blowing the entire mountain apart from the inside. Today, only a barely noticeable, overgrown crater remains here, but right beneath my feet, hundreds of meters of sealed, pitch-black voids still run deep. And the most incredible part is that what is happening underground right now affects everything you see on the surface, deep within these sealed, oxygen-starved voids. A phenomenon known as an underground coal fire is taking place. The leftover coal that German miners couldn't reach or chose to leave behind in the tunnels has been slowly smoldering here for decades. On the surface, this slow-burning fire is completely invisible to the naked eye. However, during the winter, local hikers notice a strange anomaly. The snow on certain parts of Niedźwiadki melts much faster than anywhere else, and if you look closely at some hidden ground cracks, you can actually see a faint, warm vapor rising up into the cold forest air. It's a stark reminder that even though the coal mines of Wałbrzych were closed long ago, the underground world is still very much alive and breathing beneath our feet. So, when you explore these peaceful trails, you are actually walking on top of a giant sleeping furnace. And finally, our path brings us to a small clearing. From here, you can see the Swiss Valley and Mount Timur rising above it. It is exactly at this point where our route meets the Blue hiking trail. If you go one way, it leads up to Mount Timur. But if you take the other direction, it circles the mountain and heads toward a forgotten German mausoleum on the opposite slope of Niedźwiadki. But that is a story for another time. Every step on these mountains shows us that the past is hidden right under our feet. Thank you for exploring these trails with me today. Don't forget to like, subscribe so you don't miss our new explorations, and share your thoughts in the comments. I'll see you in the next video.